Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale T2 Judgment Day figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at the 2.0 clean version of the T-800. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. If you're heading down to the description, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Terminator content goes live. Now I know not everyone loves DX10, but I do. It was my first 1/6 scale Terminator figure, and that means today is a bit of a sad day because after this video is done, DX10 will be retiring. This is its replacement. As for the box art, it's consistent with what we saw with T-1000. It's a smaller box versus DX46, of course. This is an MMS style box. Image of the figure himself up front, metallic red finish. I actually really like the way that looks. T2 logo and his name down the bottom. Then we've got all this like techie circuitry in the background behind Arnie. This video is brought to you by Justin's Collection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to Justin's Collection.shop in the description. On the side of the box, the shotgun is spilling over the edge from the image on the front cover. Then we've got some logos, as well as the targeting system for the T-800, smack bang in the middle, done in gloss. It only really reveals itself when light bounces off the surface. And all the boring stuff back here, wardings, legal information, and their store locations. The Rose box, I cannot tell you how long I hunted for an MMS 117 specifically for the Rose box and the black t-shirt because I was obsessed with that look. I still am. I've also still got the 117, so we will be doing comparisons back to that piece throughout the course of the video, but spoiler alert, this one is better. On the side of the box, T-800 again. Then around the back, some figure photography, more logos, as well as this TV scan line effect over the top, sort of replicating that Terminator vision look. This is one of those figures that I'm considering picking up two of. I did it for DX10, so why not for this, I guess, because you've also got the grey t-shirt and the endoskeleton arm, so multiple display options. First in-hand impressions for the new clean T-800, he is extremely heavy. And that real leather smell is hitting me immediately. What we're going to do now is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Starting off with the display base first, but actually before we do that, this may not be a DX, but it comes with a hell of a lot of stuff. Hexagonal base, the printing up top says T2, then we've got this fire, this textured effect for the background, T-800 up front, and a height adjustable crotch grabber. This is fine. This is serviceable. However, this is the base that we got with DX10. Similar footprint, but it's got a light up effect. I much prefer the DX10 base over this new MMS one, the 2.0. Let me know which base you prefer down in the comments. Let's start small, then we can look at some of the larger stuff. Sunglasses, they're easy to mess up in 1/6 scale because you need to get the thickness just right and the lenses can't be too bulky. The shape needs to be perfect. The prototype sunglasses were awful. They were terrible. These are the ones that came with DX10. The shape was completely off, far too small. Yet the ones that came with the MMS 117 version of T-800 were superior to DX10s. Versus this new 2.0, the shape is similar, but the new ones, to me at least, look slightly more accurate. And the lenses, they're a darker yet still translucent plastic. all of this really small stuff, the flap of flesh that plugs into his head, that looks disgusting. Then we've got the cylindrical piece that you insert inside the head after the neurochip, and the lid that goes over the top. I'm not going to put any of that stuff inside the head sculpt because I reckon once I do, I'll never be able to get any of it back out. Okay, now I like this. This is what I want to see going forward if we get figures with switch out t-shirts. The grey shirt, nice soft fabric, it's also pretty thin. There's this strap at the bottom, press studs that connect to the back of the shirt underneath his crotch, so it pins this down and in place. It's never going to ride up and the bottom isn't going to get revealed from over the top of his pants. It's always going to sit perfectly once you connect those press studs. A lot of people have been up in arms about this. I am so sorry. The switch out arm, it looks okay, except for the exposed elbow joint. Like all of this stuff is beautiful. And we've got a working wrist joint with moving pistons. The blood is wet and slick and glossy looking. Then we've got a chrome finish for all the endo bits. The flesh that's been chewed up around the base of the endo arm. I've got no complaints with any of that. It's just that joint. Why was this not a static piece? Okay, if you can't have articulation, for the sake of realism, just ditch the joint, Hot Toys. Because now a lot of us simply won't be using this. You may as well have not included it. I know some people are going to say, Justin, what are you talking about? I do not care about exposed joints on my 1/6 scale figures. This is an accessory for you. But for me, I simply can't bring myself to use it. There's heaps of skin texture on the fleshy bits, vein work, musculature, all of that is fine, it's just that joint. Now, for some weird reason, they decided to do away with the articulated fingers from MMS 117. Not to say that this looks better than the new one, but the pose that the fingers are in, all crunched in like that, it looks very strange. I might heat up the fingers and try and reshape them because the hand is PVC plastic. Should be possible. They've made some interesting changes to the minigun. It's the same underlying sculpt as DX10. It's got the same functionality with the rotating barrels and you can plug the bullet belt in. But they've ditched the wires. Aren't the wires supposed to be there? I always thought they were supposed to be there. But with the new one, we don't have any wires. It's also shinier, but there's more speckling and dirt and grime on it, and there's a heavier silver dry brush. To connect the bullet belt, which is rubbery plastic, there's 2 pegs right there. There's 2 peg ports on the bullet belt. This is not the easiest thing in the world to do, but at least it's a secure connection. Once you have it plugged in there, it is not going to fall out. The bullet belt has some dry brushing on it. Every single bullet has been painted, but it's not wired. I would have liked some wires in this so you could loop it round and then have it sitting in the bag, which you can do, but it's constantly trying to pull itself out of the bag when you have it in this top slot area. Working zippers, real pockets, there's some foam padding inside, but the best part about 1/6 scale bags is you can store some of his spare hands in this, so when you want to change a pose, you don't have to go rifling through the box or an accessory tub. They've made some significant improvements to the bandolier. The way it's been stitched, it wants to naturally curve around Arnie's body properly. Then we've still got the die-cast buckles, and they've changed out the material that holds the grenades in place for something that's a lot more durable. They went with pleather last time. This is the same material that they've used for the base strap. You can remove the grenades if you want, and they're done in this very shiny metallic gold with silver for that middle band, and there's a black wash over the top. Rosebox v Rosebox. This is the new one. This is MMS 117. I like the shape and size of the new one better. The cutout looks more accurate. And there's some texture on the cardboard. It doesn't feel as flimsy as this one. The roses, they look more realistic with the new one. They're a lot larger, but there's less of them. We had more roses with MMS 117. You can remove all of this stuff inside the box that's just there to prop up the flowers. if you'd like to pop the shotgun inside of it, I don't think I'm going to. If anything, I'll just have him opening up the box, holding the shotgun. Speaking of the shotgun, they've taken bluing a little bit too seriously. This weathering effect that is done in metallic blue doesn't make a ton of sense. Silver dry brushing Hot Toys is fine. It's the same sculpt as what we got with DX10, MMS117, but they forgot to paint the shell on the inside. It's still there. It's still sculpted inside of it. They just didn't paint it. And they've done away with the sculpted texture on what would be the wooden bits. Now it's just completely smooth, and they've simulated that wood effect by printing it on there. Pistol is the same as always, removable magazine, painted bullet detail. Then you can bring the slide back. It's not spring-loaded. You can see the bullet up top. Then when you bring it back, the hammer will be pulled back as well. Grenade launcher, functional sights, you can bring them up, then you can open the back to pop a grenade in there. It's also great for a reloading pose. Real fabric sling and die-cast little buckles holding it in place. It's the same sculpt as DX10's, but the paint applications, they look more believable to me with the DX10 version. And lastly, a full array of hands. Unfortunately, there's some staining on the closed fists around the base of them, then there on that knuckle because he was packaged wearing them. That makes me nervous that whatever kind of dye they used on the leather is eventually going to seep into the plastic on his neck area, on his arms, on his hands. We'll just have to wait and see. And these are all brand new sculpts specific to this version of Arnie, the 2.0 Clean T-800. The wrinkling, the skin texture, the painted cuticles, even the gestures. I don't have any complaints with these. I just wish we got more ungloved hands. Trigger finger hand for the right, and then a barrel gripping hand for the left. Trigger finger hand left, and a shotgun holding hand for the right to make it look like he's reloading it. But all of the gloved hands, they are reuse from DX10, the relaxed open palm ones. The sculpts still hold up. The wrinkling, the cinching effect at the base of the wrist there. The dots, even the grey dry brush. Two closed fists, they might have gone slightly heavy on the grey dry brush on these, but it also, from a distance, looks pretty good. Then a trigger finger hand, you can pry these open to pop the weapons in there very easily. Same thing with the ungloved hands and a barrel gripping hand. What we're going to do now is get Arnie himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. The only thing I've done to him, I couldn't help myself, I'm sorry. I had to pop the glasses on just to complete the look, see it for myself on the turntable, and holy shit, this thing is good. Is it perfect? Maybe. Couple of things to discuss off the turntable, but nothing figure-breaking. Every little thing is an upgrade over DX10. The boots, how they've been sculpted, how they've been painted. The real leather outfit. Yes, DX10 had a real leather outfit, but it was never as form-fitting, as thin as this one is. All of the faux zippers, they add to realism and the thinness of the tracks, the accuracy there. Even the wrinkles are now properly in scale for a jacket of this size in 1/6. The body, the proportions are better, and the head sculpt. Yes, there's a visible seam underneath his ear from the side, but from front on, he looks entirely seamless. This figure might just be one of their best releases of all time. That's how good this is. High praise, I know, because they've released some absolute bangers over the years, but this might be one of their biggest bangers of all time. Seriously, it is that impressive. Up close and personal, kicking things off with the T-800's head sculpt. Yixi, you knocked it out of the park with this clean Arnie sculpt. Yixi did the base sculpt first, then Hot Toys added the battle damage to it for DX46, I believe. This head sculpt is flawless. From every angle, that's Arnie. Front on, Arnie. Other side, yeah, absolutely. The only little visible seam is right there underneath his ear, and it's not even that obvious because of how they've cut it underneath the bottom of the earlobe, and you can see the jagged edge for the hairline. Yes, there's a skin texture mismatch between the really fine sculpted detail on the face and the chunky skin texture on the neck, but you can adjust the jacket, and from a distance, while you can still see it, it's not super noticeable. It doesn't ruin the entire thing for me. Even from the side, that super fine skin texture, the 5 o'clock shadow, there's a vein right there on his temple, the wrinkling on the forehead. With the prototype, that big frown line was far too big. They've dialed it back with the final production piece, and thank goodness they did that. Also, thank goodness they fixed the glasses because those prototype ones were awful. They did ruin the entire head sculpt. With these final production glasses, they are so much better. Taking them off, I've currently got him looking up a bit, and he comes across as though he's absolutely pissed. This head sculpt does have moving eyes, and we will be moving them around in a second. Usually, head sculpts with glasses, they look better one way or the other, with the glasses on or off. This head sculpt, I could go either way. That is still Arnie right there. That likeness is killer. And around the back for the hair, the jagged edge at the bottom, there's no door on the back of the head sculpt anymore, unlike DX10. To move the eyes around, you just slide the head sculpt off the neck connector. That is a much better solution than those stupid doors they were doing back in the day. But just like DX10, you can remove this chunk of hair that's pretty invisible. I mean, you can see the seam if you're looking for it, but it's on top of the head sculpt. It's not something that's going to jump out at you, I don't believe. There's an exposed bit of endo skull. There's detail on the inside of the port, fully sculpted and painted. A flap of flesh you can plug in. And you can insert the neuro chip, plus the canister, and the lid if you want to. Like I said in the accessory segment, trying to get the chip in and out of there, it's super fiddly. You will need to use tweezers to get that done. Now, how does the head sculpt stack up next to DX10? It's not as orangey in terms of the skin tone as DX10. It's nowhere near as narrow for the chin. It's slightly bigger, and I think the likeness is better. The eyes always threw off the DX10 head sculpt for me. MMS 117 wasn't bad, but it's too small. The hair looks great. The skin tone is lighter, which I prefer, but the eyes aren't as real and the skin texture is nowhere near as HD as this new one. So how do you move the eyes around? It's on a height adjustable neck connector, this head sculpt, so you can easily take it off. Then plenty of access inside the head sculpt to move the eyes. You do not have to use the tool if you don't want to. And this head sculpt with some side eye looks like $1,000,000. Let's pop it back on the body and discuss. See what I mean? That look with some side eye is perfect. It's unreal. I know, clean T-800, you need to rock him with the sunglasses, but I'm almost tempted not to. Let me know down in the comments, do you prefer this guy with or without the glasses? Let's move on to the outfit because it is 100% one of the highlights here. The thinness of the genuine leather they've gone with helps so much with getting the jacket, the pants to hug the body properly. All of these wrinkles, they make this look more believable, more realistic versus less. What do I mean by that? Well, normally with 1/6 scale clothing, the wrinkles are too big. They make everything look out of scale. But the size of all of this, the leather grain and the wrinkles, they add to realism, which is what you want from 1/6 scale clothing. So this type of genuine leather going forward, if they're making more Indiana Jones figures, more Terminator figures, maybe from the first movie, this is the stuff they need to be using. Then the faux zippers, they are so small, so much smaller than the zippers on the outfit for DX10 and all of the previous T-800s. These faux zippers, I don't know why they weren't doing this back in the day, but they're doing it now, and this jacket looks all the better for it. The way they've stitched the belt so it folds over itself and hangs naturally is a great idea, because on one side, yes, you've got the metal buckle, gravity would have done the job, but on the other, there's nothing. This would have flown away and looked ridiculous. So you don't have to manage it, it'll do it for you. Underneath the jacket, currently rocking the black t-shirt. It ends at just the right height underneath the Adam's apple. We'll switch it out for the grey one in a second. It's such a nice material they've gone with for the jacket. It's super soft, it moves freely. I would still be careful with long-term, very dynamic posing, but walking down a hallway carrying the rose box or the shotgun shouldn't be a problem. More faux zippers at the ends of his sleeves, these strings hanging down that are threaded through the eyelets on the inside bit underneath his arms for the jacket, real metal buckle, real leather belt, real leather pants. They hug the legs well, but the boots are interesting. They end all the way up here. They've got these super high top boots on him. Maybe they've done that to keep the shape of the pants all the way down, or maybe Arnie was wearing very tall boots in this outfit in the movie. I would have preferred them to be cut lower, or even if they'd have gone with a softer material for these, just because ankle articulation is quite limited. At least they look good. They've painted the buckle, we've got some weathering, leather grain texture stitching, and some sculpted tread on the underside. So, some things for us to try out. Grey t-shirt, endoskeleton arm, popping on the bandolier. Let's begin with removing the jacket, because I want to see those medical silicone arms. I tell you what, this t-shirt is a lint magnet. I've been lint rolling it between every shot. Is he displayable like this? You could. I don't think you should, though, because without the jacket on, he loses a lot of bulk. They've downscaled the body maybe 5 to 10%, just so that he looks best with the jacket on when you remove it. His traps aren't really well defined, his arms aren't big enough, the sleeves for the t-shirt flare out, making him look even smaller. The head sculpt looks too large now. With the jacket on, everything, all of those issues are resolved. But let's discuss the arms anyway. Skin texture, vein work, some musculature. They come across too small for Arnie. I reckon his biceps were a lot bigger than this, his shoulders were bigger than this, but at least they're seamless. So if you want this, if you wanted this as a display option, it is there. The seams at the base of his wrists are pretty noticeable. Maybe if you pop the gloves on, then that won't really be an issue. With the grey t-shirt on and the exposed endo arm, this looks pretty good. In the right pose, this can work. It's just a matter of futzing with everything, getting the t-shirt to hug the top of his shoulders correctly, then it's going to be displayable. But having him like this, I think takes away from the cool factor. I've already said it just one more time, it is there if you want it. For me, this seam and losing a lot of bulk from the torso, I don't think I'll ever be rocking him like this. But this, on the other hand, don't mind if I do. The bandolier adds some visual interest to the front of him. We've got the grey t-shirt, the pistol in his pants there. He's holding the grenade launcher, the gloves on. The glasses are optional depending on the look you want to go with, but you could argue that this is maybe even the more iconic look out of the two display options. He was only wearing that black t-shirt for a little while. For the rest of the movie, he did have the grey shirt on. Okay, back to my favorite, the all-black look. Something that I've been thinking about throughout the course of this video is, I wonder what this figure looks like with the battle-damaged DX46 head sculpt on it. It pops on the neck connector, you don't have to swap it out, and seeing as though it's the same base sculpt as the clean one, the glasses are of course compatible. I love this. Just a little bit of battle damage, some of that endo skull poking through, seeing the blood. You could always pop the spare DX46 jacket on here for even more battle damage, and you'd see the medical silicone arms through the holes, but I don't think that's entirely necessary. For me, I'll be going, as you already know, with the all-black look and the stock head sculpt, but it's good to know that that battle damage one is compatible with this piece. For a quick side-by-side comparison, new figure on the left, MMS 117 on the right. Look, it's dated, but for the longest time, this was one of my favorite T-800s. The head sculpt is too small, the proportions are way off, he just overall is too short. And the pleather outfit combined with the thickness of the material, the outfit is too bulky. A lot of things wrong with MMS 117 nowadays, but back in the day it was great. Next to this new one, if I was picking between them, of course, it would have to be the new release. Call me crazy, but I still sort of like DX10. It's nowhere near as good as the new one in terms of the head sculpt or the proportions or the accuracy of the outfit even, the thickness of the genuine leather they went with. Yes, it's still real leather with DX10, but it's thick. It's really thick. The wrinkles are too big. It's baggy on the body, and you've got those oversized zippers all over the place. They didn't need to be functional zippers. He's got the grey shirt on and the bandolier. Maybe I'll keep DX10, pose him with the minigun, and have the new one with the black shirt on a Harley. Not sure yet. There's no denying that the new DX46, the 2.0 battle damaged Arnie, is a feast for the eyes. All of the torn up flesh and the blood and the gore and the endo bits, the endo skull poking through on one side of the head sculpt. You get two head sculpts, a diorama base for crying out loud. But I think Hot Toys knew that just doing a battle damaged Arnie 2.0 wasn't going to be enough because a lot of collectors love that clean look, me included. And side by side, do they look good together? Yeah, absolutely. And finally, T-800 next to T-1000, both 2.0s. They look great together, but I think T-1000 is a better companion piece to the battle damaged version of Arnie just because they've both got those matching diorama bases. There's no reason why you couldn't do this. But then T-1000 has a much more impressive base than Arnie does. On the shelf, you might have to ditch the bases for this to look as good as possible. I would display T-1000 with DX46. Then, if you're getting the upcoming endoskeleton from Hot Toys, the die-cast one, maybe pose that with this Arnie. Going over articulation, starting off with Arnie's head sculpt. Double ball peg inside the rubbery neck, good for forward to there, back to there, more than forward at least. Swivel, and just enough pivot side to side. It is a height adjustable head sculpt, so you can move it up and down, pose depending. Arms plugged into the shoulders on ball joints and hinges, going up to there, no problem, unrestricted by the real leather jacket. Forward and back, they almost go completely flush down by his sides. Then a butterfly joint that hinges up and down. There's a swivel at the bicep, but because they're medical silicone arms, I would bend the elbow first and use that as a point of leverage to actuate that bicep swivel. Double bend at the elbow on ratchets going past 90. Then for the wrist peg, it's a hinge and swivel. Midsection joint and waist joint combined, crunching forward to there. That is a very stiff joint. Going back to there, it moves more freely back than forward for some reason. Swivel and some pivot side to side. Legs go forward to there on ratchets pretty comfortably. Just watch out for the fabric tucking into that hip joint. You can adjust it, of course. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Double bend at the knee, friction joint going past 90. Then a double ball peg for the ankles, but the boots end all the way up here, so you don't get much range. A little bit of forward and back, mostly rotation, and a touch of ankle tilt. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is, why does his neck look like that? The skin texture is far too chunky versus what's on his face, and seeing as though those two pieces are right next to each other, it is extremely obvious there's a mismatch, even from a distance. The second annoying thing is, how, with MMS 117, did we get articulated fingers on the endoskeleton hand, and now in 2025 we don't have that, not to mention the exposed elbow joint, which is all kinds of ugly. The third annoying thing is the base is so boring. How did we get those gorgeous diorama bases with T-1000 and DX46, and then clean T-800 is stuck with a simple hexagon base? I was expecting another diorama style base, but nope, this is what they ended up giving us. The first cool thing is real leather outfit. Yes, we had a real leather outfit with DX10, but this looks better. And we've got a real leather belt this time. The second cool thing is, thank goodness they fixed the glasses because they are so important to this look for T-800. The prototype ones, they were all kinds of wrong, and it seems like they've done their homework because the final production glasses, so much better. The third cool thing is we're not really missing anything from DX10. This is not only an upgrade versus DX10, better head sculpt, better proportions, better outfit, but we get all of the missing accessories that we received with MMS 117. So this is like the best of both worlds. Wrapping up on the clean T-800 2.0 from T2 Judgment Day. If you've got DX10, if you love DX10, if you've got MMS 117, it's been a grail for you for a long time like it was for me. It's time to sell them, because this right here is a significant upgrade versus both of those previous releases. This is the best of both worlds. You get the best of DX10's accessories combined with everything that anyone could really want from 117, and that means that now I'm considering picking up a second one of these. One to have in all black on a Harley, and the other to have with the grey t-shirt on, and the minigun and the bandolier. So many display options with the one piece in the one box. And you've got a real leather outfit, including the belt. They've upgraded the glasses versus the prototype. The head sculpt is potentially the best Arnie sculpt they've ever given us, and you get the neuro chip, and you've got moving eyes. This figure is that good. If you are on the fence, just do yourself a favor. Get off it. You need to have this. I am so glad they decided to do a 2.0. I wasn't sure at first, but now that I've seen it, yeah, well worth the wait. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. You're heading down to the description? Why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.